Hello all. In this video, we are going to focus on named entity recognition, which is finding out the important words in a given text. So we will be doing this in Google Colabs again, but before we go, let's introduce a little bit on named entity recognition. So in your childhood, you might have played name, place, thing, animal game. If someone gives you a letter, maybe that starts with B, and you have to find out a name that starts with B, um, place that starts with B, thing that starts with B, and animal that starts with B, right? So that means you would be able to do that kind of recognition of name, place, thing, animal in on that particular letter. Okay, so this is not exactly the same, but some sort of similar in identifying the some important facts in a given context. Okay, so for example, you can identify people, organization, place, dates, and other things. Okay, like money, time, percentages. So this is a good and important functionality in the natural language processing. In order to process something, you need to identify if it is an Apple organization or an apple that you are eating. Okay, so identify, able to name, entity, and recognition. Okay, so in the title itself, you have name, whether you are going to identify a person name, entity, um, that would be an organization. If it is a recognition, that could be a place, a date that you are thinking about, any time, so those are the things that you could be able to identify. Okay, so why this is important, and it has several applications. As I mentioned, one important thing is natural language processing. Actually helps in search engines. So it helps to identify whether you're actually talking about an actual apple or a company apple. Okay, so and to identify the news tracking, it helps to identify or finds the names of a politician in the news articles. Okay, so definitely chatbots and a conversational AI, where the chatbot should be able to understand what you're speaking on, and it identifies appropriate words and provide appropriate channels to the customer. Okay, definitely sentiment analysis to know how people are talking about a given organization. What's their sentiment? If you order something through Amazon, what's your sentiment on a given product for a given company? Okay, so lots of good applications. All these are basically conversational AI applications. Okay, how does this NER work? Okay, so the AI reads the sentence and it finds the important names, places, and things and label them correctly. And definitely it provides some scores, I believe. Okay, so it will provide some scores as well, confidence level score. Okay, so let's see here. We have Elon Musk founded SpaceX in 2002. So you have Elon Musk is a person, SpaceX is an organization, 2002 is date. Okay, so what do we need for this NER? Okay, so basically a pre-trained models that you could be able to get it from Hugging Face library, maybe such as models like BERT, Roberta, GPTs. We are using either PyTorch or TensorFlow. Okay, so in order to process the text in this. Okay, these steps I'm going to show you in a Google Colab in just a moment. Okay, I would recommend you to take a moment, maybe talk to a person who is sitting next to you and play the game name, place, thing, animal. Just give one letter and then ask the other person to provide the name, place, thing, animal of that. Okay, and see how they are telling. So sometimes the name that you said might be a place somewhere else. Okay, so for example, Madison is a place in Wisconsin, and Madison could be a name of a person too, a female person. Okay, so just take a couple of minutes and then play with each other. Okay. Okay. After finishing that activity, so let's go and discuss the same thing here. I would strongly recommend you to read this because some of these might appear on the exams as well. Okay, so you could see the information extraction, search engines, different applications, virtual assistant, sentiment analysis. You could be able to do some open mining. Open mining means more analysis of it. Okay, so we are using transformers and TensorFlow. So install those, import those, and then load the name entity to the pipeline. Remember, pipeline could have any processing thing that you can have, and enter your input sentence, recognize the entities, and print the entities with the given labels. I have already executed this. If you notice the 12 seconds, I have already executed. I'm not executing this in the video, but you could be able to execute. So pip install transformers, pip install TensorFlow. So those are the famous commands, and we are importing the pipeline from the transformers. And this is a named entity framework, NER. We are using some of these libraries here. I'm going to show you. We are using this model. Let me scroll a little bit up. So we are using NER classifier, applying a pipeline function and passing the NER, what category that I'm doing, whether it's a sentiment analysis or NER or text summarization. And then framework, I'm using TensorFlow. Model, I'm using this. So you might have a question, how do I know these models? I'll show you in just a moment. Okay, so these are some of the models has been given here and also has been given in the Hugging Face library. I'll show you them in just a moment. And when you actually install, it would install like 1.33 GB packages and all that stuff. So Collabs are good to use. And you enter its input sequence. So Steve Jobs is the founder of Apple. I'm eating Apple. John Smith, CEO of XYZ Corporation, announced yesterday that the company will be opening office in London and England next month. Okay, so at least you could be able to, this is called, you store this in a sentence local variable, and apply this NER classifier. NER classifier is basically this local variable here, which you have applied a pipeline and a model, and you are saving that in a result. So the result that you get is an array because you have several words there. All those words would be saved in an array. Once these are saved, you would be applying kind of an enhanced for loop for each element in the result, or each entity. You could call each element, this is a local variable. You are printing, so basically an entity with a word, an entity word, label that entity, score of that particular entity, so of each word kind of. So look at here, you got entity colon, and then the word is Steve, label is whether it is a person or whatever it's identifying, and it is a score. Okay, so job, person, score. Sorry, job in the sense this is Jobs. Okay, Steve Jobs, person, and a score. Score, if you notice, everything is 99%. So that means the results are correct here. So Apple is an organization. It identified Apple correctly. Again, John Smith is there. Both are person. I mean, John is the first name and Smith is the last name, but it recognized as a person. XYZ, X is X is a Twitter. The new name of Twitter is X. It are recognized as organization. And if you notice Y and Z, it's also recognized organization because I mentioned it's a corporation, XYZ corporation, right? So corporation is also an organization. London and England is kind of a place or location it's identifying. Okay, so basically these are the things that helps in the conversational AI. Conversation AI means able to get more intelligence to communicate between two machines. Okay. I am eating apple. So basically truncated all this. It's not even considering that is part of a named entity, whether it's a name or entity or recognition. So that means there might be some words that you call it as a stemming words, where you are going to stem those which you are not going to use further. Okay, however, you could come up with your own named entity recognition to provide that recognition or name or entity or stem word for each and every word also. Okay, so that could be a completely new project. So it's going to get this one. So I told you how you need to be able to utilize these models. So for that, you need to go to the Hugging Face library. I think I already opened a new tab. So it's directing me to this. I have already logged in on my account. So I'm going to the models. So if I go to the models, you could see multi-model, computer vision models, NLP models, audio, tabular, reinforcement models, okay, and other graph machine learning. And I'm going to use natural language processing. Where is the named entity here? Let's do the text classification. So this is identifying or classifying the text. Okay. You could be type NER. You may find some. Okay. So I got one NER here. This is another Roberta large NER. I could be able to find different. I really don't know which one would perform better. You could be able to click on this and see how the usage of this. Only 23 downloads last month. Maybe look for NER. So this is only 6 downloads. So I think 23 is better. Let's go there. So basically this is MH01 is a person has created a NER, and you could click on this, copied, and you could come back to your notebook here and put your model here and able to use. Okay, so just edit this and copy paste the model and try to run. You may get the better results or you may get the worst results. I cannot guarantee that one, depends on what model that you get. I would recommend you to see different models and compare that results in your discussion. Okay, thank you.